The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, a track that has stood since 1940 and hosted the Brazilian Grand Prix in the FIA Formula One World Championship since 1972. It's a track full of rich history and in recent years has been a staple for being right at the season's end in the world's highest tier of motorsport. Today hosts yet another finale with round number 2 of the Dallara Formula IR Championship. Hello one and all, and welcome to Friday Night Primetime on RaceSpotTV. I'm Noel Renfro with Ryan Walker beside me in the commentary box and Connor and Maddock behind the cameras for today's presentation. It's a very famous track here today, Ryan, and a lot of talking points in this track as well, particularly in the first sector. Remember, we've seen the trend has been all season how we have had a lot of wrecks in the early stages of the race. Well, with how difficult these first 3 corners can be, would expect nothing different here today.
Yeah, absolutely not. That first sector is really tricky as well. And I think there's plenty of passing opportunities, but I think today, especially into turn 1, you might see some passing opportunities. And it's a sad way to round out. It's sad that the season's coming to an end, I should say, but nevertheless, it's still been good fun.
It's been good fun indeed. We got 15 drivers that are all going to be getting set to rumble here today. Presently, Tim Delisle is on pole position for the time being with a 1:10.361. That's about 3/10 higher than his teammate Greg Olsen with Danilo Sanfilippo in third, and points leader Marco Sanfilippo in the 4th position. We're watching Sanfilippo now, Marco that is, as he's rounded his way around the track. He's been bumped down to 5th as Manuel Domingo has just put himself up into the 4th position. 12 of the 15 cars set to start today's race, Ryan, have set times. It's good to note as well that everybody is on the mediums, save for one driver, Anthony Catt, who's running the hards.
Yeah, Anthony Catt, he's been known for running the hard tyres and doing a long run, as Marco Sanfilippo gets sideways on the exit, heading up the hill. But yeah, Anthony Catt on the hard tyres, obviously maybe going for a long run, but Sanfilippo drives into the pits.
Sanfilippo practicing an in-lap. It's a pretty easy pit road to get in this time around. It's basically just a straight line down, and then you just got to run your way out and make sure you hit the brakes in time. Tim Grevin is right now on the circuit for his second flying lap. He's out of the 1:11.676. That's good enough for the 9th position. He's got to improve, though, by at least a 10th if he wants to improve his sitting on the grid here today. So he's just now throwing his way through the start of this middle portion of the racetrack.
Yeah, he's coming through that middle sector now, through the twisty bit, and it's really difficult because there's not really any passing opportunities. But as Grevin comes down the hill now, currently in 9th, but it looks to be a decent lap at the moment as he's heading up to the penultimate corner now. And as he gets a bit sideways, that'll cost him a 10th or 2.
It'll cost him more than that for sure. I mean, of course, this is one of those corners, Junsao, where it is very, very easy to step that back end out. It's you're suffering with a little bit of elevation change in the middle of things as well. It's not the easiest thing at all. He is going to set a 1:11.465, so that will be enough to put him all the way up into 7th place. 2 drivers have yet to qualify: Timothy Bowman and Ruben Denker rounding out the field.
Yeah, Tim Grevin, it looks like he was on a good lap as well. It looked like he was going to improve, but only managed to improve a little bit. But at the moment, it looks like Ruben Denker's coming across the line, and it looks like he's going to complete a lap, a 1:12.3, and it looked to be a decent lap, but still, I'm 14th.
Now he's got a quarter second to make up on Rashad Craig if he wants to improve his own sitting on the grid so far. He's right now the last of the drivers to set times. We're still waiting to see if Timothy Bowman will come out. Doesn't look like Bowman will be coming out, though, to set a lap here today. So we'll keep our eyes here on Denker as he sets out in his second lap. Usually the second lap is faster. Drivers take that first lap just to get those tires up to temperatures, and then they'll properly gun it in the second lap of the session here. But he's going to miss the apex there, and that is going to severely compromise his entire lap.
Yeah, and that hairpin, the first one, it's so easy to run wide because you want to try and carry momentum into it. But it seems to be one of those corners that requires the old doors. Get sideways again, and this is pretty much his second lap over.
And Denker not having a good time out there at the moment. He's going to kind of clip over the apex of Junsao as well. Now in the run-up for the final stretch of track, completely flat out all the way to the start-finish line. Manuel Domingo is coming around on his second lap as well, so we'll have to see what Manuel Domingo will be able to make as well. Denker abandons the second lap. He comes down pit road. Domingo is not going to log a time on his second lap. He'll be sitting in the 4th position. 20 seconds left in qualifying here.
Yep, there's always like everyone's pretty much finished their qualifying laps, and anyone that's still out there, or maybe someone that's already completed their laps, might be just going round practicing the pit entry, because the pit entry around turn 1 is really tricky because you're going fast, and then all of a sudden on the pit entry you've got to slow, you all of a sudden come to a sudden stop.
We'll have to watch for cars potentially running each other over on pit entry as well. We'll get back to that in a moment, though. Qualifying is over. Let's take a run down now through the starting grid. It's going to be Tim Delisle on pole position with teammate Greg Olsen sitting beside him to lock out the front row. Danilo Sanfilippo and Manuel Domingo round out row number 2. Points leader Marco Sanfilippo sits in 5th. Philip Schiff starts beside him on row number 3. Tim Grevin in 7th with Jacob Swiderski in the 8th position. Tomas Zine and Omar Baja round out the top 10. Cal Young sits at 11th with Anthony Cat in 12th. Rashad Craig will be 13th with Ruben Denker in 14th. Timothy Bowman rounds out the 15-car field today, the only driver to not set a time. So we're getting set to rumble here for 46 laps of racing, about half a pace lap to go before we go green flag racing. Just waiting now for the rest of the drivers to get themselves sorted on the starting grid before we kick off today's final race of the Dallara Formula IR Series.
Yep, just waiting for the drivers to get onto the grid now, and I think with this pace lap being relatively long, or kind of long anyway, it gives these drivers a chance just to get in that mindset, get settled down, get focused, and just think about what they're going to do in the race. And yeah, I think Tim Delisle, I think he might have flashbacks of Monza on his mind, because he won't want to try and do what he done at Monza. Maybe he'll try and just get a clean start. As soon as he gets onto the exit of the final corner or onto the home straight, he'll pretty much just floor it and get away.
The big thing to watch out for is going to be turns 1 through 3. That is obviously turn 1, the Senna S, and the Curva du Sol, right down onto the Reta Opasta straight right after turn number 3. It's a downhill braking zone at the turn 1. The track immediately cuts back and tightens up as well before opening up through turn 3 as well, which is a long sweeping left. The problem is we've seen a lot of early lap incidents, and especially turn 1, lap 1 pile-ups as well throughout various series throughout the track. In fact, even at Road America, actually, just last week, Ryan, we saw several cars, I believe it was at least 6 or 7 collected in the big one, and again, the very first turns. We'll have to watch out for that one here, as the pace car is now leading them, though, through the Beca de Pato in the second portion of the pace lap here. Your final thoughts here as we come on up to Mergulo and Junsao.
Yep, I think you talked about the turn 1, the Senna S. I think that's one corner that maybe some of these drivers might have issues with, because everyone's so close together, and it might cause a bit of a bottleneck. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone has an issue into turn 1.
Off through the final braking zone corner. Still got a couple of smaller kink, though. The Subida dos Boxes yet to go before we get set to go racing for the 46 laps. It is important to note that Timothy Bowman did not make the starting grid. He will be starting this race from pit road, assuming he starts it at all. Tim Delisle sits on the pole for the Positive Sim Racing team. It's currently a 1-2 for them in qualifying. They'll try to go 1-2 again. We're getting set to go racing, though, for the final time in the season. The pace car is going to pull on in to pit road. And Tim Delisle gets to the lap pedal. We're green flag racing for the final time here in Brazil.
Yep, as they head down to turn 1, and it looks like everyone's had a relatively clean start, and everyone's through into turn 1 really clean. And as they come through turn 2, turn 3, someone's got sideways, and manages to save it.
No, not quite, as Omar Baja just had a bit of contact in the back end with turn 3. Ruben Denker was the driver that got into him. Baja tried to clear himself, didn't work out too well. He's still in the middle of a fight with Rashad Craig. For now, though, nobody shot out sideways yet, so shockingly, we're still clean with everybody running in this race through turn 1.
Yep, absolutely. And Tim Delisle got a great start off the line. So did his teammate Greg Olsen in second. And behind. Yeah, pretty much Dallara and also are starting to pull away already and build up a bit of a gap to third place Danielo Sanfilippo.
We're kind of watching this middle portion here from about third on back to the sixth position. We take a look on board with Manuel Domingo trying to reel in Philip Schiff, who's made up a good 2 spots already since the start of this race. He started 6th place. He runs wide though through Jun Sao. That's going to compromise his, that's going to compromise his line. Domingo goes through. This might open the door for Marcus Sanfilippo as well. Unless Schiff can get the run down the straight, we know how powerful this draft can be. He's going to have a massive tow here all the way down to turn number 1 for the second time today. Goes all the way to the pit wall now, trying to get by him. Dive bombs turn 1. It looks like he might be kind of behind us. Domingo gets side by side with Tim grabbing a thrilling first lap here as we enter turn 3 for the second time today. One car's off in the background though. That's Thomas Zine, who's gone off the track in turn 1.
Yeah, I'm amazed that none of those 3 had contact into turn 1 when they went 3 wide. That was amazing. But yeah, Ruben Denker in 8th at the moment. He's under pressure from Jacob Swiderski and also Anthony Catt, so he's got a bit of a train starting to form behind him.
Don't discount Cal Young either. He's the driver running in the 9th position at the moment. Denker got around him, I believe, into turn 1 around the outside to make that pass work for the 9th position. So Young's trying to fight back, but Denker is on a charge right now, just pulling a massive gap over this grouping of cars here. So at the moment, Cal Young is all over the place on the defensive line. Let's take a look back up now. Philip Schiff just rounded his way through Jun Sao. No compromise line this time round. So Manuel Domingo will have to use that draft to try to get it back into turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And Domingo's getting closer and closer in the slipstream now. He's got to run, heading over the start-finish line, heading down to turn 1. Can he get the move done at the inside? It looks like he's trying to go for it. He shows his nose, and Philip Schiff's run wide.
Bit of a lockup for Schiff, sends him off the track, and he's going to rejoin at turn 3, lose so many spots. Ruben Denker will try to go by around the outside at turn 3. That's going to get close. They almost bang wheels as Schiff rejoins the track. Denker got squeezed onto the curves there. Schiff is going to be all the way back now to the 8th position.
And Ruben Denker is not taking any prisoners. He regains that position. But looking at the replay of Philip Schiff, and he runs wide in turn 1. I think he just got distracted a little bit by Domingo. And has to go across the grass and just about loses it again, but manages to regroup, get going again.
And a little bit of a left front lockup for Schiff, and that is what caused that car to run super wide. Not good at all for the number 8 car. He's going to have to regather here and try to see if he can pick up some momentum here and retake those positions. So for now, it's going to be a fierce battle here to try to retake several of the positions he's lost so far. He's all the way down to 8th. He's closing in, though, in the fight for 7th here on Ruben Denker. We look up front. I believe this is Marcus Sanfilippo, who we're watching trying to reel in Manuel Domingo. He's got Tim Griffin behind him. These drivers are going to continue to stay line astern down to the turn number 1 this time round.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising to see Marco this far back in 5th place. He's normally up there challenging for podiums or wins from time to time, but at the moment he's in 5th, battling Manuel Domingo, and yeah, but he's still having a decent race. Oh! I think Philip might have just got caught out, I think, under braking as he's getting closer and closer to Denker, and yeah, he just braked too late.
And that sends Ruben Denker off and into the AstroTurf on the exit of turn number 4. Luckily, no severe damage there for Denker, so he'll be able to gather this back up and kind of get things rolling here. Back up front to Mark Sanfilippo, running in that 5th position. Manuel Domingo started to pull away from him. He started to pull a gap on Tim Grevitt as well, so these 3 drivers are just growing further and further apart here as time goes on, as once again, we watch them dive their way through turns 1, 2, and 3. Let's take a look back, though, to this battle here for the 9th position. Jacob Swiderski trying to have a run at Cal Young, trying to get that draft on the exit of 3.
Yep, Swiderski's getting close now, and I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move, but Swiderski is one of those drivers that he can be quick, but he's a little bit sometimes aggressive or even mistake prone, but at the moment he's still inside the top 10 at 9th place at the moment and putting Cal Young under pressure. But up ahead of Cal Young as well, we've got Philip Schiff, so those guys, Philip could be under a bit of pressure for 7th place.
Philip Schiff is continuing to try to build that gap. So we're going to continue to keep our eyes here on this fight for 8th and 9th with Swiderski and Young. These are the 2 drivers that are the closest on the racing surface right now. They're sitting at about 3/10 apart from each other. as we go through Junsao once again at the tail end of lap number 5 of 46 today. Already we've seen some aggressive moves being made super early in this race. Swiderski just loses a bit of time though on the exit. Likely the dirty air playing into a factor here, causes Swiderski to fall a little bit backwards.
Yeah, as they're closing up on the shift really quick now, as they head through turn 1 and turn 2 and then round turn 3. And I think I'm wondering if Cal Young's maybe using a slightly lower downforce for the straights, and maybe that ran up the hill as well, because he was pulling away slightly in a straight line when it came to straight line speed anyway.
Indeed it was. Young definitely has the advantage on the straights, it would seem. So I think you're right. He's probably running the lower downforce setup on the car because he knows it is super difficult to pass on the middle section of the racetrack here. It's just so precise. You have to be so on point with all of these turns that it's super difficult to get alongside somebody. And even if you get alongside them, it is very difficult to stay there. So Swiderski's got this car set up for the corners. I think what Swiderski is trying to do at the moment is he's trying to set himself up so he can be close enough that he can reel him in with the draft down the straightaways here. As you can see how close he is in the run-up to Junsao once again, but he's just not close enough to be able to get the draft he needs down these straightaways.
Yeah, he's not really getting the exit, or he's getting a good exit, but he's not really close enough to make a move, like you say. So Cal Young at the moment, he's pulling away again. So yeah, for sure, he's got slightly lower downforce. And in front of these guys as well, he's got the slipstream of Philip Schiff as well to help with that.
It looks to me a little bit, kind of looking back at the last lap there, it looks to me like Swiderski is actually not as confident on the throttle as Cal Young is. Swiderski is very, very confident on the brakes. He is braking significantly later, but he's getting on the throttle a bit more timid compared to Cal Young at the moment, just up the road. So I think that has a problem to do with this as well. Is the fact that Swiderski is not able to get the power down as much as would have liked, maybe out of fear of having that car step out from underneath. So we've seen how disastrous that can be in a race like this.
Yeah, this seems to be the trend with the car as well, getting on the power. It seems to be one of those cars that you need to get on the power as soon as, or as quickly as possible, and try and get a good exit. But at the moment, looking at the rear of Cal Young, looking at Swiderski, again, Swiderski getting on the power and getting sideways, so his tyres could be going off already.
I think that's just got to do with the fact that it's 900 horsepower being sent to the rear wheels with no traction control. It's definitely a throttle issue for Swiderski. He's just not able to get the power down as much. I guess his setup doesn't quite allow him for that, because every time he gets on the throttle early, like Cal Young is doing, the back end is stepping out from underneath him, and that's what's causing him to lose all this time here.
Yep, as they head through turn 2 and turn 3 again. And looking at Cal Young still, and again, Swiderski is just not close enough, so I think but the struggle he's having with getting back on the power as soon as possible is definitely costing him a bit.
He's able to close so much in this middle sector, and that's because he's so much better on the brakes in these lower speed corners. His problem is really coming from that penultimate corner there. That's the real issue for him at the moment, is the fact that he just cannot get the power down there enough.
Yep, absolutely. As they head into the second hairpin now, heading downhill, and Swiderski's definitely closer this time around. Can he get closer on the braking and get a good exit? Yeah, he's got a great exit now, so Swiderski's a lot closer now, and I think it's just a matter of probably a few moments time of getting that move done.
He's going to have the draft to help him all the way down the straightaway here, but Young is easily matching his speed here. Swiderski will have nothing for him down to the turn number 1, so Young has got the power on the straights. He has got the lower downforce setup to help him out here. Swiderski has got to really, really capitalize in these corners. He might have to pull a bit of a bonsai move as well in a turn number 1. The problem is, it's a little bit early to be making crazy moves like that, though, when you're just trying to go for 8th position.
Yeah, we're only on lap 9 at the moment, and so it's a bit early for some of these drivers maybe to start going at it, and maybe just kind of just be cautious and wait until the pit stops, because pit stops around here can be a factor as well, especially the pit entry and the pit exit.
You talked about the pit entry being a bit tricky, and to kind of elaborate on that, it's not difficult if you're on your own, because it's basically a straight line in. You just got to make sure you get your braking point right. The problem is if you're coming in traffic, because at that point you got to worry about not just slowing down yourself, but trying not to A, run over somebody else, or B, get run over yourself. You got to make sure that you kind of balance all of these different factors, so that could play in big time in some of these battles if we see some cars coming down at the same time.
Yep, absolutely. As Carl Jun and Jacob Swiderski come over the line again, and they're losing a little bit of contact to Philip Schiff in front of them, but I think Schiff at the moment is just slightly quicker than these guys, and he's maybe just settled down after the first few laps and just got into a rhythm.
Here's another battle on the track at the moment, further back in the field. That's between Anthony Catt and Thomas Zine at the moment. Zine just got past Anthony Catt in the run down to turn number 1, so they're looking mighty close, as well as this battle continues to develop for the 9th and 8th positions on the racing surface. But at this point, it is looking as though Cal Young is starting to pull a little bit of a gap here. Swiderski runs a little bit wide there at the exit of that last corner.
Yeah, just carried a little bit too much speed and missed the entry, but manages to get it, still get the car turned in. But at the moment, like you say, Carl Young's just pulling away ever so slightly now. And I think Swiderski is maybe just overdriving a little bit.
I think Swiderski is getting a little bit impatient here with having to be stuck in that car's draft up front. The problem is he just cannot get close enough to Young to properly go for the position. Young is just so much better than him on these long straights, so by the time the draft does start to kick in, the effect it has is really minimal at best. So Swiderski, he's got to try to use the middle sections of this track to his advantage. That's the only way he's going to be able to get close.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think his best opportunity as well is on the exit of probably the final corner and that run up the hill. If he gets a good exit and he can use that slipstream, I think he can get the move done, hit into turn 1, but it's just a matter of getting a good exit and being close enough to do it.
Watch from some of the static cameras that we got kind of laced around the track to just show you the speeds that these cars can carry through these corners. Even though it might not look fast from some angles, I tell you what, these cars just really fly through these corners at unbelievable speeds, especially when we get around towards the pit straightaway. That's where it's going to become really prominent. So we're going to stick with these kind of static cameras here along some of the walls, and look at how fast these cars fly around these corners up and over the hill.
Yeah, it's amazing as well, and Carl Young getting close to Philip Schiff as well, so it looks like Carl Young is definitely starting to pick up his pace now, and Philip Schiff as well. He's having to keep an eye on Carl Young behind him, but just doing enough to stay ahead for the moment.
The battle for 11th and 12th has swapped hands again. Ruben Denker this time has picked up his position on Anthony Catt. Catt's trying to fight back here into turn 4. Just doesn't have anything forward, so Anthony Catt has now lost 2 positions in 2 corners. There you see the pass just being completed into turn number 1. It was a very easy pass, and Anthony Catt even backed off a little bit and allowed Ruben Denker to take that position away from him.
Yep, and Catt at the moment is on the back of Thomas Zine, and yeah, Anthony Catt is he's not really at the front. He's not in the top 10 either. But I think the hard tyres that he's using at the moment, I think he's trying to do a long run, and then basically towards the end of the race, trying to put softs on and just basically kind of try and pick up as many positions as possible.
Well, it is important to note that he is the only driver right now running there on the hard compounds. You can see that on the left side of your screen there, the tire compounds that everybody is using today. The only other driver that's behind him on the mediums is Rashad Craig, but Craig had his own struggles very early on in the race, getting punted around. Oh, we got one car around. That's Philip Schiff. That's just taking a spin through turn 4. He's going to lose a handful of spots here, including one back to Thomas Zine just there, so Schiff continues to have a bad day and drop down the timing order. Now, was this with contact, or did he just overshoot the corner?
I was about to look at the replay now, and he's coming up to the home straight now. And I think he may have just outbraked himself, or maybe it looks like just a mistake into turn 1. And at the moment he looks fine on entry, but he just runs wide.
Yeah, left front lockup. Same mistake that we saw him make actually early in the race. That is the identical mistake to what he made early in the race. Same spot, same tire. Philip Schiff is having struggles with turn 1. He just took back a position from Tomazin. Oh, speaking of which, there's another lockup there in the battle for position we got up here. I believe that's Manuel Domingo that we're watching. This battle for P3, he's got Danilo Sanfilippo just up the road from him. So these guys have been growing really close. Domingo is now going to go to the inside to take advantage of that bit of a mistake there in turn 1 from Sanfilippo. Sanfilippo will have nothing for him. Domingo will easily take the 3rd position down through turn 3.
Yep, and I think Daniel just decided it was not worth fighting at the moment, and I think he might just be trying to stay in that slipstream and maybe trying to get a run heading up to the home straight and try and make a move into turn 1, but at the moment it looks like Manuel is starting to pull away.
It looks like Domingo's already built up a significant gap. I believe it's about 7/10 of a second. Make it 8 now as they go through the corner. Oh, gets a bit of a tank slapper there, though, in the run-up through, I believe that was turn 11. Down for 12 now. Sanfilippo will be able to close on up with him thanks to the draft, but Sanfilippo struggled a little bit under power as well. You saw him working that wheel, kind of seesawing it back and forth to keep that car going in a straight line. That's going to cost some time here, and it looks like he is not going to be close enough to make that dive he needs in the turn number 1 to retake that 3rd position.
Yeah, absolutely not. And Daniel, I think he's just decided to stay behind, and he's basically just conceded at the moment because Manuel seems to be the slightly quicker driver, and as you can see, starting to pull away at the moment.
One driver that has not conceded, meanwhile, is Tomazin. He is now all over the back end of Philip Schiff at the run down to turn number 1. Battle for 3rd continued to split on up. The position just swaps as Philip Schiff falls back into the spot, back into 11th place. That's going to put him under fire here from Ruben Denker as Tomazin got a much better run out through Junsao and all the way down this front straightaway. He saw Zine kind of lift off, he thought about the outside, but then he decided to wait for Schiff to go out wide and then pounce on the inside line. And that was a smart move there because that allowed Zine to get that pass done easily.
Yep, absolutely. And Zine, yeah, he's one of those drivers. Zine, he's been there and thereabouts. He's had some decent results this season, and currently sitting in 11th, just outside the top 10. And yeah, if he just keeps out of trouble, he might be able to salvage a top 10 result to finish out the season.
Behind them, Philip Schiff is continuing to struggle. Now trying to fend off Ruben Denker in that 11 car. Schiff has not had the best runs today. He's had 2 mistakes so far. Both have cost him mass amounts of positions in the exact same corner, same fashion as well. Both left front tire lockups. So has that been a really good run for that number 8 car, and it's going to continue to go further back as Denker thought about making a move there. Oh, Schiff goes wide again in turn 1. Now he's going to cut back at 2, pass around the outside of 3. Textbook overtake there from Denker, but he's going to have to go defensive here. Schiff is not going to give this one easy. Down the straight we go for turn 4. Schiff trying to go around the outside. They almost made contact.
Oh, that was so close to be. Oh, that was so close to ending up in a disaster, but amazingly, both of them managed to survive.
And you want to know what the mistake was that caused Schiff to run wide? For the 3rd time this race, left front lockup. Go on board, watch that left front tire here as he goes into turn number 1. Right there, locks it up. He's made that mistake 3 times now. That's the first time, though, that he hasn't gone off the circuit, though. Goodness gracious. I mean, he just cannot, he's got to get that issue under control here because it is just biting him in the foot here.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's wrong with Schiff. He just seems to be a bit rattled or unsettled at the moment. He's made, as we saw, he's made a couple of mistakes into turn 1, and at the moment he's under pressure from Ruben, was Ruben Danke, but he's got the position now. So, Schiff, he's just rattled now, and now he's under attack from it. Looks like Anthony Cat.
He's dropped 6 positions so far, and then kind of in the 40-car field, that wouldn't be too bad, but we've only got 14 cars running. That means he's dropped about half the field, or half a field's length back in the race. Started all the way up in the 6th position, and he is was a bit further back than he wanted to, I think it's safe to say. Right now, the only battle we really got on the track is between Denker, Schiff, and Cat, but that's going to quickly turn into Cat versus Schiff. Now Ruben Denker is also starting to pull away.
Yep, and apart from this battle, it looks like everyone's pretty much spread out a little bit, and this is the closest battle on track. So at the moment, Schiff is, like I say, is under attack from Cat, and Denker in front of Philip Schiff is pulling away.
Sal once again. Anthony Cat nice and close to the back end. We'll have to see what he can do here. Schiff will be able to have the run that he needs all the way down the front straightaway here. Anthony Cat should note running the hard compounds here today, whereas everybody else, including Schiff, on the medium. So looks like the medium tires might be starting to fall away here as well, and that's allowing Anthony Cat to start to reel him back in. But while we wait for this battle to develop here, we'll take a quick rundown through the field so far. Tim Dallara continues to lead. He's led every lap so far this race. Greg Olson, his positive sim racing teammate, sitting securely in the second position where he started today. Manuel Domingo has passed Danilo Sanfilippo for the third position some time ago. That leaves Marcus Sanfilippo, the current points leader, down in fifth. Tim Grevin is sitting in the sixth position. You got Cal Young kind of running the comfortable seventh. He's got Jake Swiderski trying to apply pressure from behind, though, for that seventh position. In the eighth position, Omar Baja sits in ninth. He swapped positions with Thomas Zine some time ago for the 10th position. Then, of course, you have Ruben Denker, who just passed Philip Schiff, who has really been struggling so far today. 3 mistakes that caused him to drop 6 spots where he started today. Anthony Cat sits in 13th, the only driver on the hard compounds, with Rashad Craig 14th. You have Timothy Bowman as well, but he did not make the starting call. Tim Grevin comes down pit road this time by. He's going to go on a set of hard tires to run this one out through the very end of the number 6 car.
Yep, Tim Grevin having a good race in 6 as well. And yeah, he's basically been quiet for most of it so far. But at the moment, coming out the pits, back in, it looks like 11th place at the moment, and it looks like he's just about to come out ahead of Philip Schiff by the looks of it.
It is, and he's going to run wide. Schiff forced him off the track. That was a bit dirty there from Philip Schiff. Just pushed him clean off the circuit. Not sure what Schiff thought he was going to be able to do there. I mean, the guys on fresh, hard tires, you're on old mediums. At that point, you'd think it might just be a smart idea to get out of the way and wait for those tires to get up to temp. Anthony Cat is now trying to pressure Tim Grevin as well in his fresh hards. We'll take a look at the replay here on board here with Tim Grevin. Fresh out of the pits, he had just gotten onto the hard tires, comes out right behind Philip Schiff. And I know Schiff is probably impatient and upset that he's lost a lot, but I mean, that's kind of pushing your luck.
Yeah, looking at the rear of Grevin, and it's... yeah, that was just... excuse me, I don't know what Schiff was doing there. He's just being impatient, and like you say, I can understand he's a bit upset or frustrated that he's lost a few positions, but racing like that, that's just yeah, it's so yeah, it just looks like it was one of those unfortunate things.
Well, I mean, and I don't know what Schiff is expected to do there. I mean, Tim Grevin did the right thing there about bailing out of that corner, because if he stayed on the racing line, he absolutely would not have been able to make that corner. They would have collided again and wrecked. That is so unfortunate. Battle for 6th is looking hot, though. Cal Young and Jake Swiderski have gotten mighty close. In fact, Swiderski half a second quicker than Cal Young on the last time by.
Yeah, Cal Young's been under pressure since the start of the race, basically, from Swiderski, and Swiderski, every time he gets close, he's not close enough to make a move, so I think he'll probably be getting frustrated as well. But also, if you can't get by on the track, there's always that trick that you can do, pit early and try and do an undercut.
Well, we know drivers might be starting to think about that if you want to go into the hard tires. We've already seen one driver do that today in Tim Grevin. Now the question is for Anthony Cat, is he going to stick it on the hard compounds, or is he going to swap over to the mediums for his final stint? Because we're expecting Anthony Cat to not come in for quite a while yet. Yeah,
you never know, but at the moment still, Cal Young is still staying out there, so is Swiderski. And yeah, I think these guys at the pit stop will probably take another set of mediums, or maybe even take a set of hard tires and try and go to the end.
Grevin was running up in the 6th position, so it'll be interesting to see if he cycles back through to that same position on those fresh, hard tires. We continue to watch this battle for what is right now on track 6th and 7th. A little bit of a lockup there for Cal Young. You saw the smoke fly. Swiderski continued to get ever closer, but he's just, again, Swiderski not as confident on the throttle. It's caused him some massive havoc here when he gets around to these straightaways here. He is going to have the drive to help him all the way down to the run to turn 1, so we'll have to see just how effective that's going to be, though, because at the moment, it's not helping him at all. The draft is just all in Young's favor at the moment, and sure enough, Swiderski not nearly close enough, only about 5 miles an hour quicker at the end of the straight. Which tells me that Cal Young, he's set up for the straightaways, whereas Swiderski is set up for the corners.
Yeah, Cal Young's just doing everything that he needs to do, just doing a good defensive job, and he's not doing anything too erratic or aggressive. He's just hitting his marks and just he's not letting the pressure from Swiderski get to him. But at the moment, I think Swiderski, this is a section that Swiderski seems to get close in. It's just section here, but it's the last sector that he just seems to fall back a little bit.
You saw him try to have a look up there into the SA corner. Didn't quite work out for him, but he certainly tried to have the look, which tells me that Swiderski is starting to get a bit impatient, and he's trying to find whatever gap he can get. I think he's starting to realize he's going to have to make this pass in this middle section because he just doesn't have the speed to rival Young on these straightaways. Although I say that, if he can really get the hammer down here, he is much closer this time to Cal Young than he was last time by. So he has the chance here to really apply that pressure and get by him, but he has to make this really count all the way down the straightaway. Will Swiderski go for the move? No, sticks it in line. He might try for 4 though, because he is also significantly quicker through these first 3 corners here. I say that, he's just lost a lot of time.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looked like it seems to be here as well with it on the exit. Sometimes he seems to lose a little bit as well. It looked like it was going to be a great exit, but he just took too much of that curb on the turn 2.
Omar Baja comes into pit road. It's going to be mediums to mediums for him as he comes in just at the halfway point, just about 1 lap shy. He's out of the car, actually, so Omar Baja retiring his machine here on lap 23. So potential major issues here for Omar Baja. Not quite sure what to make of this one here, Ryan. He was in the middle of a battle with Thomas Zine for position. Meanwhile, Tim Delisle is in pit road. So is Greg Olson and Manuel Domingo.
Yep, so the 2 positive sim racing drivers are pitted at the same time, and I think that was a joint decision on strategy of them, or basically they might be sitting on Discord or TeamSpeak on the same channel. They basically discuss saying when they're going to pit and decide to pit together, which I think is a good move for both of them, being in first and second.
You had just seen Manuel Domingo crank that wheel hard left, try to make sure he didn't get into the wall, and even then he still nearly collided with it. Luckily, didn't seem like he encountered too much strife for himself. Now Tim Delisle is just a few seconds behind current race leaders Marco and Danilo Sanfilippo. Both those 2 drivers, though, are still yet to pit, so we can expect them to come in for their pit stops pretty soon here. Zine is down to pit road. He just left pit road as well in the 15 machine. So we watched Delisle through Junsao now. Will the Sanfilippos come down pit road? Danilo Sanfilippo does come in this time by. Marco Sanfilippo keeps it out 1 more lap.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a mistake from Marco Sanfilippo, because I think he should have pitted on the same time as Daniel Sanfilippo, because people in fresh tyres will have the advantage and he'll lose time on old tyres. So yeah, a bit of a mistake, I would say.
Might be trying to go for the overcut. We'll just have to wait and see here. Sanfilippo just now comes out of pit road. He's on a fresh set of medium tires. Anthony Cat is the driver I'm going to be watching to see when he comes down for his pit stop, because he is running the hards and he still has a long way to go if he wants to really make those hard tires pay off for himself and switch over to the soft compounds is what we're expecting from him coming into today's race. Although the other driver to run on the mediums went to the hards for the end.
Interesting. So it looks like most people have made their pit stops. I think still Marco Sanfilippo still needs to make his, but I think he might just be able to come back out in front of Domingo and Sanfilippo, or in front of the other Sanfilippo anyway.
And now Marco Sanfilippo brings it down pit road, so I think this is about where we're going to see the top 5 cycle back through to where we expect it to be. Now the question is, who's going to be in front, Danilo Sanfilippo or Marco Sanfilippo? Because remember, Danilo Sanfilippo has 1 lap now on the fresher tires that Sanfilippo is going to be losing here. So we'll have to see how this will play out for him. Sanfilippo comes down pit road, watching for Danilo Sanfilippo, who's just now crossed the start-finish line. Mark Sanfilippo's out of the pits, and Danilo Sanfilippo once again retakes the position on the fresher tires.
Yep, so a good pit stop from him as he's heading out the pits now, and it looks like he's came out just behind Daniele Sanfilippo. So the battle for third place could be, battle for fourth place, sorry, should be getting really close in a few laps time.
So that battle develops as time goes on. At the moment, the big battle here is for 11th as Anthony Cat just lost a spot to Rashad Craig. Craig's on the fresher medium tires, I believe, at the moment. They just swapped hands for their own positions. Battles continue to heat up throughout the track, I believe. We're now watching Cal Young versus Jacob Swiderski. Both these drivers fell way down the order before they came into pit again. I believe they're battling for the 9th position at the moment. In fact, they are. Cal Young was up to 6th on the last lap by. Of course, that has changed due to the pit stops at the moment. So Swiderski is hot on his heels.
Yep,
Young gets loose.
Cal Young made the pit stop and managed to come back out in front of Swiderski, but Swiderski is getting really racy now. He realises this is his chance to try and get by Cal Young, because Cal Young is still basically trying to get his tyres up to temperature.
We're on the straights now, though, so here we're going to see just how powerful Cal Young can be. And you know what? I think I know now how Cal Young is so quick on the straight. He's got a little bit of a race spot sticker on that rear wing, and you all know the story. You get about an extra, 5-10 horsepower for every race spot sticker you have on your machine. So I think that's what's helping, because he's got a few of them on there.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, but you beat me to it. But at the moment, he's staying in front of Swiderski still, and starting to pull away a little bit. But Swiderski, like you said, before, he's really good on the brakes.
It's too little too late, though. Swiderski lost his opportunity last time through in the runoff of Jinsao onto the middle straight. He's going to have to wait for Young to make another really bad mistake, because Young is starting to just pull away now with that position. We're at the point now in the race where we're expected to see cars kind of settle into their own little rhythms here as the race goes on through in these last 20 or so laps.
Yep, as Cal Young is still under attack from Swiderski, but at the moment it looks like we've got pretty much most pit stops out of the way. That's like, take that back, someone else is diving into the pits now. That's Rashad Craig.
He was the driver that was just in the midst of a battle with one of the drivers just off the road. He was well down the order because of a wreck that occurred earlier in this race, so he is now down to pit road. He was in the middle of a fight with Anthony Katz, so this is the first time he's come down to pit road. A lot later than the other drivers. He's also on a fresh set of mediums from here on to the end of this race. Thomasy just goes by him on the outside of the racetrack, so we'll have to see if Craig can try to fight back and pick up a couple more positions before the race comes to a close. Still waiting on Anthony Cat to come on down for his pit stop.
Yep, as this battle for fourth place is still close at the moment, with Manuel Domingo under a little bit of pressure from Daniele Sanfilippo as they come across up to the start-finish line now, heading down to turn one. And there you go, all three cars in the battle for fourth in one picture.
Through the Senna S and the Curva du Sol, once again, the very long downhill sweeping left-hander. Personally, one of my favorite corner complexes in all of motorsport. It is so challenging, so tricky, yet so fun at the exact same time. It is just it's a rush to go through there. Note that these guys are feeling that as well here, as once again, we now throttle back up the hill for the middle portion of the racetrack. There's so much elevation change in this place. It is honestly incredible. Yeah,
this is probably my favorite section around Interlagos, because it's technical, it's twisty, and it's kind of one of those sections that it invites you to carry speed, but it requires that old slow and fast out approach, and it requires you to be really smooth as well.
Indeed. Does take a little bit of time here to kind of get the feel of the track as well. Even the front straightaway is big here, because you get the final quarters, which are a little bit banked actually because of the hill that they sit upon. But then it's a bit of a downhill rush all the way to the start-finish straight, a little bit of an uphill crest, then diving it back down again, all the way through 1, 2, and 3. It's all one long downhill. If there's one thing that these cars don't like, It's downhill braking zones while turning. That is what this track is full of here, and that's what makes them such a thrill to drive at this place.
Yeah, absolutely. As still this battle for fourth at the moment is still close, and it looks like the two San Felipes are really getting close as well. As they're starting to lose touch a little bit with Manuel Domingo, who's just keeping that gap at the moment as he heads into the first hairpin. And I love the first hairpin because it's just one of those you can just basically roll the car in and you don't have to overdrive it. But this section here I always find tricky because heading down to the final corner, especially the final or the penultimate corner, you've got to get the exit right and try and carry that momentum up the hill.
Even from this shot alone, you can see how the track enters from the left, goes downhill, then it just starts moving back up. Looks like Cal Young has got a little bit of an issue, though. So I'll have to see what has happened here. No idea what actually happened to Cal Young, but he's just dropped massively down the timing order here. So we'll take a look here. This is in the run-up. Oh, wow! That is a very strange place to lose the car. Ran wide through turn 4. And then unfortunately trying to come back on the grassy section. The one bit of small grass where there is there, that's what he just happened to run over. That is one of the most unfortunate spins I think I've ever seen in my entire life, because he slid over the one portion of the track where you can't afford to get the power down.
Yeah, as we ride on board with Cal Young now, and it looks like he might have just ran wide or just carried too much speed, and it looks like he looks fine on entry. It's on the exit. Oh, he just got unsettled under that over that curb rather.
It was the AstroTurf that really unsettled him, and that unfortunately put him on a beeline right for the grass. Now he's going to be under fire from Rashad Craig, who's just behind him, running in the 11th position. So they're out of that battle for 11th and 10th. Craig is looking mighty close here. He's going to have a look here into turn number 4. Not close enough, though, to go for the move. And Cal Young holds on for now.
Yeah, it was so unfortunate for Cal because he was having a great run and a good battle with Jacob Swiderski, and with Cal Young having those issues, it's allowed Swiderski up into 8th place now.
Craig is still keeping him nice and close, making sure he's keeping Cal Young honest. We're going to be coming up here on about 14 laps to go, so Craig is running out of time here if he wants to improve on where he's been sitting. He wants to get himself a top 10 finish, with that mistake from Cal Young, he has the chance to do so. So through to Jun South for the third second time of the day. Young misses the apex, but Cal Young is really good on these straights. Remember, he's been doing this all day long, and it looks like at the moment he's actually a little bit faster than Rashad Craig down the straights, even with the draft. Now Craig's running them down for turn number 1. The draft is just too strong for Young to hold on, and Rashad Craig puts him into the top 10, but he misses the apex at turn 1, sweeps wide, and Cal Young is going to sweep past him and retake the 10th position.
Yeah, that was great driving by Cal Young. He realised that Rashad Craig got the run in him. He got the slipstream into turn 1, but Craig basically ran wide in turn 1, and that was a nice switchback from Cal Young to retake the position.
Right on board here, all the way in the run down to turn number 1, on board with Cal Young, who's going to watch his. He's going to run just a little bit wide and just sweep through, says, thank you very much. They're about to go side by side again through the middle section of the racetrack, one of the first times we've seen this take place all day long. So this is a battle that is not going to go away anytime soon. Absolutely
not, and yeah, Cal Young again, I think he's under pressure, and I think he's got to get a good exit on the run up the hill, but I think Rashad Craig is close enough to make a move again on the home straight, heading down to turn 1. I think he's getting closer and closer up the hill, and I think that slipstream is going to come into play now, and it's just basically Cal Young's going to be a passenger.
Cal Young's a sitting duck. Craig once again moves to the left. Both drivers match each other on the braking points here. Young tries to get the over-under through turn 1, but this time he's not lucky enough to have Craig go by him. They're about to encounter Anthony Cat, who just came in for his pit stop. Cat's on the soft tires, but he's going to be slow out of the pit, so this is going to be interesting here. Cat comes right out, right behind this battle here. Backs over Young, who almost takes out Rashad Craig into 4.
Oh, that was so close. I almost had to look away there. I'm amazed that never ended up in contact between Young and Rashad Craig, because that was just too close for comfort, and Anthony Cat is on the soft tyres now, so he's I think he could be in the box seat here. He's on the quicker tyres, and I think he could pick up a couple of positions.
This is the first time we've seen anybody on the soft tires all day long. Anthony qualified on the hards, started on the hards. We got one driver that went mediums to hards. Everybody else has gone mediums to mediums. Cassidy is the only one who went from the hard tires over to the soft compound. So he did get some speed out of these tires with just 12 laps in this race. And already, Rasha Craig is pulling away massively the position. And this is going to mean that Cal Young might be under some serious heavy fire here from Anthony Cat. His tires are going to be now up to temperature. Cat's going to really have to maximize these corners here in order to be able to get the most amount of speed that it can, because we know how fast Cal Young can be on the straights.
Yep, absolutely. And at the moment, he's got Anthony Cat behind him, and I think Cal Young, he looks like he could be pretty much on the defence at the end of the lap, heading up to the home straight, because Anthony Cat, at the moment, he's on the quicker tyre, but also on with the soft tyres. They can be quick at the end of a run, or at the start of a run, but towards the end of it, or they can drop off really early, basically.
Cat's going to have to get this position done here soon before the wear on those softs kicks in. I think there's a reason why we haven't seen anybody really go for the soft tires recently. The track is looking at about 101 degrees, so it is a very hot track surface, meaning the performance advantage in those softs will not stick around for long. Right on the rear wing through turn 11 and down for turn south. Once again, Young misses the apex. This means he is going to be a sitting duck for Anthony Cat, who nailed the apex at turn 12. Up the hill, now down the hill for the pit straightaway. This is the first time Young goes defensive. Cat's gonna have to do this one around the outside into turn number 1. Both cars gonna be matching each other deep on the brakes, and Cat still is not able to get by Cal Young.
Yeah, Cat needs to get by as quickly as possible, because at the moment he's on the quicker tyre, but Cal Young just doing a great defensive job, and Anthony Cat's showing his nose, trying to unsettle Cal Young, but at the moment he's not succeeding as a ride on board with Cat, and I think he might be getting a little bit frustrated now.
He's got to be careful that those emotions don't get the better of him. Look at how close he closes up here, and this might be one of those cases where he has to try to find a way to make this move in the middle sector of the racetrack. He's trying to get these over-unders. You see this here. He's taking a much wider entry, trying to make sure that you can diamond off these corners and get the maximum amount of speed possible, whereas Cal Young is being forced to go on the defensive time and time again to make sure that Cat can't dive bomb him into these corners. Looks like Cat might have missed a shift, though, as Cal Young pulled massively on the exit of turn 11.
Yeah, and Cal Young got a great exit, but so did Anthony Cat. He's getting closer on the slipstream now, and I think Cat, if he gets close enough, he'll make a move into turn 1. As Cal Young is going defensive and left the door open a little bit, and that gave Anthony Cat the opportunity to make a move into turn 1. Can he get it stopped and get the move done? Yes, he can.
Cal Young will still be able to fight back here. Remember, Young is really, really good on the straights, but he's got to maximize here. Already, Anthony Cat going big on the defensive, weaving left and right across the track in order to try to break the draft as quickly as he can. Cal Young will be at the disadvantage in the corners, though. And this is going to be crucial, because don't forget, these guys have Tim Dallara coming up on them. That's the car you can see just at the tail end of the shot there. The race leader, Tim Dallara, is coming up on this battle here too, so they're going to have to start worrying about him here in a minute.
Yep, and Tim Dallara needs to be careful in traffic as well, because he's got a decent enough gap to his teammate Greg Olsen, which is about 9.2 seconds. So, but still, he can't afford to back off too much. But he's got to be very careful in the traffic, because the traffic in front of him are in a battle of their own.
We ride on board now with Tim Delisle, and I'm continuing to keep my eyes here on Cal Young to see just if he is still within that draft, and if he is within the draft, is it any good? But it doesn't look like it. Anthony Cat's just too good on the soft compounds, and it looks like this battle is finally over, and Cal Young will be in his final position here in 11th place, providing something else takes place. Now he's got to focus on the blue flags behind him, as Tim Delisle is now all over his gearbox.
Yep, and Tim Delisle looks like he's not had any issues getting by the traffic, and yep, Cal Young lets him go. So yeah, good heads-up awareness from Cal Young.
Cal Young continues to kind of stick with him with the draft, but does back off to give Delisle the room that he needs to continue to pull that gap on him now. I think at the moment what Young is also hoping for is that maybe Tim Delisle can hold up Anthony Cat a little bit through this middle section. That might be a big ask still, because at the moment, even with the gap that Anthony Cat has pulled, I don't think Young's going to be able to do much against him.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Callion is basically losing touch of Anthony Cat, and yep, I think he's pretty much out of slipstream range.
Just out of range too. It's very unfortunate to see a battle kind of end, because obviously we want to keep the action going for as much of the race as we possibly can, but well, that is how it is sometimes. And I'll tell you what, this season has still been very good. This race, in fact, has still been very good. I'll tell you what, for 14 cars running the race, we've gotten a lot more action than I think either of us expected coming into this one here today, Ryan. And I think that's always a plus that we can walk away from, knowing that we got a lot more action than we came in bargaining for. It's been a great run for these guys. It's been a fantastic season so far as well. Some races have been a little lackluster, admittedly, but we've had some very thrilling races. I know Spa-Francorchamps comes to mind as one of the most thrilling races we've seen all season. Interlagos is coming in a pretty close second at the moment. Yeah,
absolutely. Like you say, there's been races at times this season where it's been really exciting. There's been some shocking moments, especially at Monza with the start and Tim Dallara being caught up in that incident. And in other races, it's been a bit. It's not been the most exciting, but it's kind of just that's the way it goes in sim racing and real life. Sometimes you get good races, sometimes you get not as exciting races.
So through turn 3 once more, we now ride on board with Philip Schiff, who has managed to recover up to the 8th position. He's trying to run down Jacob Swiderski, who at some point was able to get by, and that of course was thanks to Philip Schiff and another mishap there. Schiff is still trying to recover up to where he started earlier this race. He has recovered pretty well, though. He fell as far back as 7 positions earlier in the race. Now he's only dropped 2 from where he originally started today, so he's really close now on running down Swiderski for that 7th position.
Yeah, it's been a decent recovery from Schiff. Some questionable driving, you could say, at times, especially when Tim Greven came out the pits and just a bit impatient, but still he's still inside the top 10. But I think he would have wanted better at the moment as he heads in on the run up the hill now, and in front of him he's got Jacob Swiderski.
Our eyes here on Philip Schiff as he still has Swiderski in his sights just up the road. It's going to be an interesting one, though, for Schiff to see if he's going to be able to run down Swiderski for the 7th position. At the moment he's going, though, he might be able to do it here because he was 0.4 of a second quicker than Swiderski on the last lap alone. So we actually might get ourselves one more battle here before this race comes to a close. In fact, they're now just half a second apart.
Yep, and Swiderski's starting to feel the pressure from Philip Schiff now, and I think so it won't be too long before Swiderski's having to go defensive.
That's the one thing at the moment that Swiderski is not going to be looking forward to. At the moment, these two drivers have got nothing to lose. They got 4 seconds back to the next driver. They got 5 seconds up to the next driver in front of them. So all these drivers have to worry about is each other. Phil Schiff's going to be all over him on offense. Jake Swiderski's going to be all over the place on defense. We're going to be 6 laps to go when they come around this time by at the line. So this might get interesting here. Hold on to your hats. We're about to get another exciting ride.
Yep, absolutely. As Swiderski and Schiff come over the line now, and Swift is getting closer in the slipstream. Swiderski goes.
Oh, takes him out! Oh no! Swiderski hard in the wall, and he was just taken out by Philip Schiff. Oh my!
I don't like to, of course, blame something like that, but I would love to see a replay of that incident again because it looked like.
Sorry, Tim Dallara was nearly just taken out by him as well, so I have to keep our eyes on this replay. But let's focus on this first. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, it looks like Swiderski might have moved late to defend, and then Schiff came up, maybe just got caught out under braking by that late move, but very, very unfortunate for both. Because looking again on board from Schiff, it looks like heading out to turn 1, Swiderski moved him plenty of time, so it just Schiff driving clumsily.
Now let's keep this on board here as we're going to watch Tim Dallara come around. He's almost going to get cleaned out by the car that got spun, and I'm sorry, but that's a bit too much. Now watch Dallara here.
Oh, moly.
Yeah, so you see why I kind of piped up there?
And
A close one.
what is it you normally say about incidents like that, Nolan? Was it oh my goodness me or something like that?
Oh, now we're just making fun of people now. Oh dear.
I'll go away.
Very good though on Swiderski to realize where he was. I don't think Swiderski realized that where Dallara was, because at the moment he was kind of chewing out Philip Schiff a little bit there. Understandably so. That's Swiderski had very choice words about that. I don't think he realized Tim Dallara was there, though, and as soon as he realized the leads were there, though, he immediately jumped that car over to the left. So good on him to notice his mistake immediately. He did get the car towed back, but, I mean, come on. That's pretty black and white what happened there. And that is not the way we wanted to see one of the last battles of the season come to a close.
Yep, and at the moment, it was just so unfortunate about that incident because Swiderski and Schiff are doing well, but like I say, Philip Schiff was just driving clumsily and just pretty much rookie driving, if you like.
Battle might be on for the third position, so scratch that. We will still get one last battle. Hopefully this one will be cleaner than the last one. And in Marcus Sanfilippo versus Manuel Domingo, this is going to be for the final podium position. Just 3 laps remaining for these two drivers in the run down to turn number 1. Now the question is going to be who's going to come out on top. Sanfilippo's been steadily closing the gap. Over half a second quicker last lap by. He will get Domingo on this lap if he keeps this pace up.
Yeah, Sanfilippo's got the run, and it looks like he's going to try and make. Or I thought he was close enough to make a move, but he's getting closer and closer. And I think his best opportunity is on the run up to the home straight if he can get a good exit.
He's got to get that good exit though. That's going to be critical here. Is he has to have the good exit. Remember, he still will have an extra 2 laps as well, if he needs those in order to make this position work, but it's going to be a bit tight here for him, so we'll keep our eyes on this. It's only going to be a matter of time, though, before we see this battle potentially come to fruition as well.
Yep, and riding on board with Marco at the moment. In front of him is Domingo. Can Marco get a good exit here? It looks like a decent exit anyway, but just looking on board, it looks like Marco Domingo is starting, or Manuel Domingo I should say, sorry I'm getting mixed up, gets a good run and pulls away on a straight line.
Sanfilippo was about half a second slower on the last lap on his own and 2/10 slower than Domingo as well, so it seems like the dirty air really caught up to Sanfilippo there through Jun Sao. Just couldn't get the power down as much as he would have liked, so we'll keep our eyes on this battle mode because this one does have the potential yet. Half a second separating them down for turn 4 once more. Both drivers at the end of the MC's car was in front of us from Denker in the number 11 car that just had a spin just in front of these guys. Luckily, he was off to the left side, and there was nothing really dramatic about that one, just one of those lazy little slides to the left of the curb. So we'll keep with this battle here for the third position.
As they head through the first hairpin and the downhill, through the downhill left-hander, and Marco, he needs to get closer as he locks up into the second hairpin and misses the apex.
And that might do that battle in right there, because all of a sudden, Sanfilippo has lost the draft and we're coming to the white flag. So Sanfilippo will have nothing for him unless Domingo makes a serious mistake. Tim Dallara rounded the circuit for the final time today. So it has been an absolutely phenomenal season. Tim Dallara, he has not been on the pole. He's missed a couple races, of course, had a couple DNS at other tracks. It seems like it's been an up and down trend for Dallara. He either finishes the race in first or he doesn't finish it at all. And luckily today, though, it is going to be the former for him if he can keep it together for the next half a lap here. He has had a pretty decent season. I believe he's going to be finishing 4th to 3rd place in the points here, so it's going to be a very good run for him. He's just got one more hairpin, and of course, Jun Sao to navigate. Then he's just got a long, straight blast to finish the season. For Tim Dallara, it has been an incredibly dominant performance, just like every other week he's won. It's been the Dallara show out in front. He's lapped half the field as well. A little bit loose at the exit of Jun Sao, but he's got more than enough time that he can make up for it. So for the final time, Tim Dallara comes over the hill and across the starting grid. Tim Dallara wins the season finale of the Dallara Formula IR Series. just behind. Greg Olson is throwing his way over the hill now. He'll bring it home for a positive sim racing 1-2. The battle for third, not quite over, but Manuel Domingo still has all the time in the world. Domingo will hold on for the third position. Sanfilippo will have to settle for fourth.
Yeah, he just wasn't close enough to make a move, and Daniele Sanfilippo comes across the line to finish in fifth. And yes, a lot still a way back is Tim Graven in sixth.
Just waiting now on the final few drivers to cross the line. The last of the drivers is just going through the middle section at the moment. What a good race this was. What a way to end off the season, you know. We had a nice, thrilling race. Relatively clean as well, all things considered, compared to last week to end off the season as well. And that is what we really like to see here in the series. Still waiting on the last couple drivers. Just waiting on two more now to cross the line. Goodness me, what a thrilling race, though, here. It's Tim Graven and Philip Schiff are just waiting on now. Graven's going to cross the line right about now. He's going to weave that car across the line. Goodness me, thought he was going to wreck that there for a moment. Schiff crosses just behind, nearly glides off the pit wall in the process. With that, all the cars are now across the line. Let's take a run down now for the official results of your season finale. Tim Dallara takes another dominant victory, 10.8 seconds ahead of positive sim race teammate Greg Olson. Manuel Domingo is going to finish up in third on the podium with the season finale. And Marcus Sanfilippo, the points leader, who I believe is now the champion as well, is going to take it to the fourth position with Danilo Sanfilippo rounding out the top five. Tim Graven and Philip Schiff round out the cars that finished on the lead lap. Anthony Catt, the first driver, one lap down. Looks like his tire strategy paid off for him. Finished in the 8th position, making up 4 spots where he started earlier today. Cal Young finishes it off in 9th with Tomas Seen in the 10th position. Rashad Craig encountered struggles early on, but he managed to recover to 11th position. Ruben Denker is in 12th. Jacob Swiderski failed to finish the race in 13th position. Omar Baja retired during the pit window into the 14th position. Timothy Bowman, the 15th car scheduled to start, did not make the starting call. Is going to finish the race off in the 15th position, a good 47 out of 46 laps down. What an absolutely fantastic run here today. We got a couple interviews, though, so we're going to jump right on over to those. So let's first off bring in your race winner once again. Tim Dallara joins us in the broadcast booth. Tim, another walk-off performance for you today. How do you feel?
I feel really good. You know, when the worst thing to happen to you in a race is making a mistake on the last corner and losing the fastest lap. It's been a pretty good run.
Let's talk a little bit about one of the events that happened later on in the race. You had a pretty calm race, all things considered. The only really bout of excitement you got was right near the end there. You had a bit of a close call there with one of the drivers of Jacob Swiderski, who had just been collected in another incident. That nearly ended your race in a heartbeat right there. So did the blood get pumping through you a little bit when you saw that?
Yeah, it. I won't swear, but it scared the daylights out of me. Yeah, I heard, because I've got crew chief and it told me something happened up ahead. And so I was already going cautiously through there. But then I saw the car in the middle of the track and I thought I was okay. Took the normal outside line and suddenly he just cut across. I don't know if he wasn't aware that I was coming or if maybe his suspension was broken and it just pushed the car that way. But yeah, I had a heart attack and it took a couple of laps to recover from that because I knew that with the SOF that basically if I pushed out of the race and Marco finished, I think, in P3, he would have taken the championship. So that's really what I was focusing on today. And yeah, it was terrifying, but I got through it.
And we don't have the most amount of time in the world, so unfortunately we will have to kind of cut things short here. But it was a fantastic run for you, and of course, congratulations once again on yet another very dominant win here today. Before we let you go, anybody that you'd like to shout out for today, stage is yours.
Yeah, the team, Positive Sim Racing. When we came into this season, we didn't really know how it was going to shake out. So, to be honest, I never went in planning to go for the championship, which is why I only raced 2 out of the first 5 weeks or something. But yeah, just it's gone really well. Looking forward to next season with the car changes and hopefully a boost to participation. Yeah, you guys for the coverage every week. I know it's been hard. Some of the races, we haven't managed to split, and there's been some spread out fields, but you guys have always, done a really great job. Amy, my girlfriend, who is so supportive that she only just got out of bed. And Cam, Laura, and Clay, who always support me from the other side of the world. Greg and Manuel for rounding out the podium. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks a lot, guys.
And thank you, Tim Dallara, for taking the time to join us today. Congratulations on another win. We'll hopefully be talking to you again in the future.
Thanks, guys.
And we're going to continue to quickly move things along here. We're going to bring in his teammate, Positive Sim Racing 1-2 to finish it off here. Greg Olson now joins us in the commentary booth. Greg, another 1-2 for your team here. No doubt you guys are feeling pretty darn good about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Me in particular, I was not confident going into this race. It's probably been the most difficult track to prepare for all season with the track conditions and the car the way it is. But it worked out perfectly, so we're delighted.
Well, you guys have been doing pretty strong all season, especially in the second half in particular. So why don't we kind of focus on the next season here? Of course, I don't think we're going to be covering the next season, but can we see Positive Sim Racing potentially making a return in the next season, for the next season of 2021, and potentially this time having a run at the Drivers' Championship?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure how the championship quite worked out, but I'm still waiting for the points to be updated. So I think I could be in with a shout for P2 actually, because I think I was the only person with 7 weeks counted. But as far as next season's concerned, yeah, even if RaceSpot isn't covering it, which we're really appreciative of you guys covering the first season. But even if you're not covering it, I think we'll be heavily focused on this car. Sort of in preparation for when there might potentially be qualifiers for the World Championship. So that's what our focus has been. And with the updates coming next week, we're really excited to get stuck in and try the new format, and hopefully the car will be a lot more popular, and with a pretty cool schedule lined up. We're really looking forward to it.
So potentially big plans then for Positive Sim Racing and the drivers of Greg Olson and Tim Dallara from the sounds of things. We certainly hope to be seeing you guys in the World Championship, assuming that does kind of become a thing. Right now, just rumor, but, there's always here to hoping. Before we let you go here, anybody that you'd like to shout out for us here today?
Yeah, of course, as always, just massive thanks to Positive Sim Racing. I wouldn't have even had a shot at the top 5, I don't think, unless I had the support of all the guys. So Tim and Javier in particular, they've really been the engine room behind this championship challenge. So massive thanks to them, and also to all the other guys in the team that are chipping away at the Formula Renault 3.5. I hope that some of them can join us for next season, actually. And as I said before, a massive shout out to RaceSpotTV for covering it. It's been really nice to do these broadcast races and watch them back, and it's been really enjoyable. The coverage is really professional. You guys do a really great job. So yeah, thanks to you guys, and thanks to iRacing obviously for developing the car. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's not a real car, but aside from the difficulties driving it, it has been a lot of fun to drive. It's lots of fun to race. Massive shout out to all the competitors as well who've been turning up, despite all the negativity that sort of floats around a bit on the forums and here and there. So yeah, just a massive thank you to everyone involved in this season. It's been a real pleasure.
And it's been a real pleasure for us to commentate this series and to bring all the action back to you, Greg. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and we wish you the best of luck in the next season.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
That was your second place finisher and the second driver in the Positive Racing 1-2, Greg Olson. I'll tell you what, Ryan, it has been an absolutely phenomenal season. It's been a brand new car, and honestly, I think it has gone off just about as well as we could have hoped for throughout the entirety of the season.
Yeah, it's been a good season. I've enjoyed calling the series as well. It's a great car as well from the laps I've done offline with it. And like we mentioned, there's not been many exciting races at points during the season, but still, it's been great to watch, great to call, and I think it'll probably get a bigger turnout next season, hopefully. And hopefully some new people that have seen the car should hopefully give it a try.
Well, with that, that is all the time we're going to have for this race, and in fact, the season. It's been a joy bringing to you the first ever season for the Dallara Formula IR Championship for the brand new Dallara IR01s introduced just earlier this year. Still not sure what series we'll be covering in the next season of Friday Night Prime Time, but no doubt we'll get that information out to you as soon as we know. It's been a fantastic season. We thank all of you for joining us once again. I've been Ola Rampo, bringing you all the coverage for the entire season, from the green flag in race 1 all the way through to the checkered flag in the season finale here in Interlagos. Ryan Walker has been with me beside me in the commentary box every step of the way, with Connery Maddock behind the cameras for today's presentation. We thank everybody for joining us once again for yet another season finale of Friday Night Primetime on RaceSpotTV. We'll see you all in a couple weeks for season number 2.